Welcome to the third episode of Bookmarked. And with me right now is Roxie Nafousi, who is a self-development coach, inspirational speaker, manifesting expert, and the two-time Sunday Times bestselling author. Roxie, hi, welcome to the show. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
So have you ever, did you ever see yourself in this position that you are right now? Did you manifest this for yourself?
Oh, definitely. I always say that everything I have achieved is because of manifesting and my 7 steps. But, 5 years ago, if you would have told me I'd be here now, I definitely wouldn't have believed it. My life was so different then. I was suffering from addiction, depression, anxiety. I had no job, no relationship, nothing. And I thought my life was always going to be that way. So every day I'm grateful to be on the other side of that. And I'm so grateful to manifesting for giving me this life.
So let's talk about yourself then. Let me see how did you end up being where you are today? Like, how did the process happen?
So, I grew up in the UK and really struggled to find happiness growing up. I was an Iraqi growing up in a very kind of white environment, and I was very bullied for, my background. And I think from then I really struggled to find that self-worth. I really battled with my sense of identity. And then that took me into that place where I, found, drugs and alcohol and escaped through that. And then a friend of mine said to me, you should listen. I'd gone on a yoga teacher training course, and, yoga's definitely been my safe space ever since I was 20. So even throughout the depression and the addiction, I always had yoga. And I'd got back from this yoga teacher training course. I thought that that was going to be the thing that saved me, but I got back and I found myself back taking drugs 24 hours later. And that's when I felt real shame. And I thought, I'm never going to change. And so I called my friend and she said, look, you should listen to this podcast that I've just heard on manifesting. And I thought, look, I'll try anything. So I listened and something in me just clicked. And what clicked was that manifesting was all about self-worth. And of course I had. And so I was kind of manifesting, but in the wrong direction. And so then I went home, I started researching everything I could. And I started this thing called Agni Aunt Sundays, where I would just give people advice on Instagram, sharing what I'd learned, sharing my own process. And then I would watch speakers like Jay Shetty, Brené Brown, Tony Robbins. And I thought, God, I would love to do that. I would love to inspire people. So I started these workshops. And through these workshops, I developed the 7-step guide to manifesting. And I was teaching these workshops, which then turned into webinars through the pandemic. And I realized it wasn't just me that was benefiting from this practice. It was the people that were, listening to them. So I decided to write the book, and, the rest is history. But it's been an amazing and transformative journey.
It's beautiful. You mentioned so much, you listen to Jay Shetty, Tony Robbins, and now you actually do podcasts with them. You talk to them. So it's a lovely journey. It's so inspirational from my end as well. I feel like I manifested where I am today as well. I always want to be an RJ. So for me, just putting myself to the grind and realizing that this is going to happen sooner or later, it's going to happen. Just trust in the process, right?
Absolutely.
And that's the main thing that sometimes people forget, because as I mentioned, sometimes you have these obstacles that you come your way and you think, okay, maybe this is not for me. One small misstep and you're like, this is not meant for me. How does one battle that? How do we avoid these so-called obstacles, or omens as some people call it?
Yeah. So, in my step 4 is overcoming tests from the universe. And it really is all about how to cope with these obstacles, because even when you learn to manifest, life is going to throw these challenges your way. And what challenges do is they sometimes, we have 2 choices. When an obstacle comes, sometimes we see this obstacle and we say, oh, this is proof that I'm not good enough, or this is proof that I can't do it. And we allow our fear and doubt, our insecurities to win in that moment, because we get deterred by the obstacle. We give up. But what we have to do is face those challenges, face the rejection, face the no's, and be able to see them as opportunities for growth, opportunities for learning. And in that sense, we get ourselves closer to the goal that we were hoping for. And we show the universe, I am worth more I know that I am worthy of my goals. I know that I'm able to stay strong and resilient, and the universe will reward you. So I really love this. Always my favorite step is turning challenges and obstacles into opportunities for growth and finding value and meaning on them and not giving up on your dreams.
That's beautiful. What can someone do? Suppose they want to start living the life that they want to live. They're in a position that they can't see a future, but they want to get better. What can they do immediately to start manifesting the life that they want to live?
Well, apart from reading my book, of course, which I promise will change your life.
That's self-implied. You have to read the book and then you do the same.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do.
But once that happens, I think manifesting to me is this self-development process that really incorporates everything that we do. So for me, the first place to start, interestingly, and people are always sometimes surprised when I say this, but for me, actually, the first place to start is looking at how you're treating your body, okay? Because our minds and bodies are so interlinked. And often when we were in that rut, we also get in a rut with our daily practices, whether that's the way we move our body, how much nutrition we're fueling our body with, how much, good quality sleep we're having, how much, we're getting outside and getting that fresh air. So for me, I'm like, the starting place is to get the basics down, make sure you're really looking after your body, having a routine in place, being able to do that, because that's going to affect your mental health, how you feel emotionally, energetically. And from that place, you'll actually have more strength to start doing the inner work. And the inner work is the healing, and the healing is really the key to manifesting. It's the most important aspect, because we cannot manifest what we don't believe we're worthy of receiving.
Beautiful. That's so true. So true. In fact, in December time, I was at a very low time in my life. I went through a couple of breakups, and I wasn't feeling good about myself. And I just started this entire new phase in my life. So I was like, is this not meant for me? Am I going to slip out under the rug? But as you mentioned, the previous thing about the obstacles, I saw that as opportunity for growth, and I took the head on, right? You've written one book, which is Manifesting the 7 Steps, to living better, right? Book number 2 is called Dive Deeper. And I've just learned that you've also already written or started writing book 3.
I've just written book 3, yeah.
How does that feel to write 3 books in the span of almost 2 months? I mean, two years?
Yeah. It's wild. I don't really think about it. When I launched the second book, it was exactly 1 year to the day from the first book came out in the UK. And I think in that moment, I thought, whoa, these are 2 books coming out 1 year apart. And now I've written 3, but now I'm like, I can't write another book. I'm so tired from writing. It's so much energy and work. I'm like, I'm having a year off, but it's amazing. And I think that for me, what's strange, and I don't know if this makes me sound crazy, but when I look at the first book, the Orange Book, I feel like I read it. Sometimes somebody will post a picture of a page, and I feel that those words were channeled through me, because I almost I can't remember writing it, because I was so in the zone and so in flow, and just sat at my kitchen table. I didn't move for 8 weeks. I had 8 weeks to write it. But I feel like when you really are passionate about something and it's really right for you, it just flows through you as if it's channeled by a greater force.
Beautiful. Amazing. Tell me more about the third book. Like, what can we expect from the third book?
Oh, I haven't announced it yet, but I think it will surprise people. And I'm very excited to announce it in a couple of weeks.
So we're ready for that then. So tell me.
Do you have Dive Deeper in India now?
I'm not sure, actually. I just saw it on there, but I'm not sure we have it in India.
I think it's going to be coming soon.
So tell the audience about what Dive Deeper is about. So book number 1 was the 7 steps. What's book number 2 about?
So it's still the 7 steps, but basically it's just more ideas, a lot more self-reflection exercises, a lot more. It goes much deeper into the healing process, but start with book 1, that's your base. And then you literally, what it says, you dive deeper into the journey in the second book.
Superb. 2 of your favorite quotes and why they mean so much to you.
So one of my favorite quotes is, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And I love that, because it means that there is no losing or, getting it wrong. It's just a learning experience. And I really live by that. And another one is by Aeneas In, I believe, which is we see things not as they are, we see things as we are, which I think is so beautiful. And really that is all about understanding that everything that we are viewing is a reflection of what's going on inside, and our own belief systems and our own self-worth. And it also means that it's the true of everybody else. So the way that other people perceive us is not really about us, but about them. And so that also gives you that's quite a freeing piece of information, you know?
Beautiful. I think the second quote it hits hard as well, because it's, as you said, it's how we view the world that actually we just impart all of ourselves into everything we notice and live by, which is so amazing. But and if you don't have a good self-worth, then you look at everything without that self-worth, which
Exactly.
is so
It's
sad.
like if you were to have a conversation with someone
Yeah,
and you believe that you're like not lovable, okay, which is a
yeah.
deep belief that a lot of us unfortunately hold. We don't feel lovable or likable. If we have that belief system, then we can have a conversation with someone and we can think, oh my gosh, they hated me, or they don't like me, or they said this because of that. But if we had self-worth, we could have the exact same conversation and think, oh, they were lovely. And, and you wouldn't have any of those negative thoughts. So it's so important, because we really need to find that worth so that we can view all our interactions and all our experiences in a more positive way.
It's all a lens at the end of the day, right? It's like this glasses that I wear. It's just a lens that you have to look through,
Yeah,
and I think it all starts from within. Um,
absolutely.
what drives you to your day to day? Like, what is your source of your motivation?
Just growth. Like, I really like to just always be growing and evolving. And I feel that every day is an opportunity to grow as a person, to grow as a mother, to grow as you grow in my business, to grow and to just grow and be better and do better. And I'm always trying to understand myself and be the best version of myself in everything that I do, whether that's at work or at home. So yeah, I think I'm just motivated by forward momentum and growth.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's been a pleasure talking to you about your new book, which is Manifest Dive Deeper and Manifest the 7 Steps to Live Your Best Life. And once again, welcome. Thank you for being on Bookmarked. And we're looking forward to book number 3 and, getting more insights into how we can live our best life. Roxie Nafousi, who is the author of Manifest 7 Steps to Live Your Best Life, and of course, Manifest Dive Deeper. Thank you so much, Roxie.
Thank you.